The smell of salt and pitch fills your nostrils. Wood groans. Oars dip in rhythm, ragged, uneven, nothing like the smooth precision of the fleet waiting on the horizon. On the deck of the Roman flagship, a young legionary grips his shield with white knuckles. He's never fought on water. None of them have. Across the waves, Carthaginian sailors are laughing. They have every right to. It's 260 BC, and the Mediterranean belongs to them. Carthage, ancient Phoenician blood, generations of naval dominance, has never lost a major sea battle. Their quinqueremes are faster, lighter, crewed by men who learned to read the wind before they could walk. Rome is a land beast, a brute force of infantry that conquered Italy with sandals and short swords. But the sea? The sea has been nothing but a graveyard of Roman ambition. Until now. The Romans aren't supposed to be here. Just months earlier, their first real fleet was smashed by Carthaginian rams. Desperate, the Senate did something that still sounds absurd. They found a wrecked Carthaginian ship on a beach and copied it. Piece by piece, timber by timber. In 2 months, they built over 100 copies of the very vessel that destroyed them. But copying a ship doesn't copy the skill. The Romans know this. Their rowers are slow. Their captains are guessing. So they invented something else. Something the Carthaginians cannot see yet. Attached to each Roman bow is a heavy wooden bridge, 15 meters long, wide enough for 2 men to march abreast. A massive iron spike hangs at its tip like a beak. The Romans call it the corvus. The raven, the Carthaginians call it a joke. They point. They shout taunts across the water. Look at those clumsy beaks, they say. They'll sink under their own weight. Then the signal horn blows. The Roman fleet does what no sane admiral would do. Instead of trying to outmaneuver, they row straight at the enemy. Straight into the kill zone where Carthaginian rams are most deadly. The Carthaginian captain smiles. Easy prey. He orders his ship to close in for the ram. That's the first mistake. As the enemy vessel scrapes alongside, the Romans release ropes. The corvus drops like an executioner's blade. The iron spike punches through the Carthaginian deck, locking the 2 ships together. Wood splinters. Men stumble. And then the legionaries pour across. Not sailors. Not rowers. Roman infantry, the deadliest close combat fighters in the world. On a Carthaginian deck where no battle was supposed to happen. The laughter stops. Screams replace it. One ship falls silent. Then another. The raven has fed. But the Carthaginian admiral still has 50 ships. He's not afraid of one lucky strike. He orders a coordinated assault from all sides. His captains turn, accelerate, prepare to ram. That's when the second mistake begins. The Carthaginian admiral, a man named Hannibal, Gisco, no relation to the later legend, still believes in speed. He's watched Roman ships lurch forward like wounded oxen. He's seen their oars catch each other, their formation fracture. One lucky boarding bridge changes nothing. He raises his arm. Signal the attack. Rams forward. Break their line. His captains obey. 30 quinqueremes surge ahead, bronze-sheathed rams slicing the whitecaps. They aim for the gaps between Roman vessels. Standard naval doctrine. Cripple the oars, punch the hull, sink and withdraw before the enemy can react. It's worked for centuries. But the Romans aren't playing by naval doctrine. As the first Carthaginian ship closes in, the Roman captain doesn't turn away. Doesn't try to protect his flank. He turns toward the enemy. A direct collision course. The Carthaginian helmsman hesitates for half a second, confused, then terrified. No one rams into a ramming ship on purpose. But that hesitation is fatal. The ships meet not at an angle but almost bow to bow. Not ideal for a corvus drop, except the Romans don't need perfect. They just need contact. The bridge swings. The spike bites. Iron scrapes against wet timber and finds its mark. Legionaries in chainmail leap across the gap before the Carthaginians can draw their swords. On the Roman deck, archers fire into the crowded enemy helm. Someone screams in Phoenician. Then a dozen more join him. Now here's the consequence the Carthaginians didn't see. Panic spreads faster than fire on a tarred deck. A Carthaginian crew is trained to ram and run. They are not trained to fight armored infantry in close quarters. Their sailors carry knives, slings, light spears. Roman legionaries carry the scutum, a shield that covers the body, and the gladius, a short sword built for one purpose, stabbing in tight spaces. On a deck suddenly crowded with locked ships, there is nowhere to run. The gladius finds ribs. The scutum pushes men overboard. Within 20 minutes, the first wave of Carthaginian ships is silent. Bodies float in the troughs between vessels. The sea turns cloudy, but the battle isn't over. Hannibal Gisco sees his ships being eaten, one by one, and makes a desperate decision. He orders his remaining vessels to stand off at range, use arrows, use flaming projectiles, Burn the ravens before they can drop. A smart counter, except the Roman crews have stopped being afraid. Rowers who couldn't keep rhythm hours ago now pull with desperate strength. They close the distance again and again. The Carthaginians are forced backward. Then comes the new complication. A Roman corvus, dropped at an awkward angle, slips. The iron spike glances off a Carthaginian rail instead of biting. For a terrible moment, the bridge hangs suspended, half attached, swinging wildly. The legionaries on deck freeze, exposed. Carthaginian archers draw, and somewhere behind the Roman line, a captain screams an order to turn. But 19 other ships are already committed. The formation is too tight, oars snap. 2 Roman vessels collide with each other. The Raven, meant to trap the enemy, has just tangled its own hunters. The Carthaginians see the opening. 2 Roman quinqueremes locked together, not by a corvus but by their own wrecked oars. Men cursing, pushing, trying to separate. The Carthaginians don't hesitate. A single enemy ship turns hard, rams the tangled pair amidships. Wood explodes. The left Roman vessel lists instantly, seawater vomiting through a hole the size of a wagon wheel. Legionaries in full armor begin to sink before they can unbuckle their straps. Some jump, others freeze, watching the dark water rise over their boots. On the flagship, the Roman consul Gaius Duilius sees the disaster unfolding. He has one advantage the Carthaginians don't understand yet. He's not a naval commander. He's an infantry general who happens to be standing on a ship. So he doesn't think like an admiral. An admiral would try to reform the line. Duilius gives a different order. He signals every remaining Roman vessel, find an enemy. Lock onto anything with a Carthaginian flag. Do not maneuver. Do not retreat. Just close. It's reckless. It's also unanswerable. The Carthaginian fleet, still reeling from the first shock, now faces a second wave of Roman aggression that ignores every rule of sea warfare. A Roman captain steers directly between 2 enemy ships, dropping the corvus to the left, then ordering his marines to throw grappling hooks to the right. He locks both enemies at once. His legionaries split, half left, half right. On the Carthaginian decks, sailors who moments ago were preparing to ram suddenly face a shield wall advancing over their own railings. One Carthaginian officer draws his sword. He kills 2 Romans before a third drives a gladius through his throat. His crew throws down their oars. Surrender follows in seconds. But war is not clean. On another Roman vessel, the corvus drops successfully, but the spike punches through the enemy deck and into the hull below. Seawater jets upward. The Carthaginian ship begins to sink, but the Raven won't release. The locking mechanism jams. Now both ships are dying together. Roman and Carthaginian, dragged down by the same iron beak. Men claw at the deck as it tilts vertical. The sea swallows them, friend and enemy indistinguishable in the foam. That moment changes everything. Roman crews start to hesitate. They've seen the cost. But Duilius, standing on his stern, shouts an order that cuts through the chaos. Cut the ravens if you must, but board before you cut. His men adapt. They drop the bridge, spill across, and hack through the ropes the moment their last soldier is aboard. The corvus falls into the sea. The Roman ship pulls free. 1 raven lost. 1 enemy still taken. Then comes the escalation the Carthaginians never anticipated. Their admiral, watching his fleet bleed, orders a full withdrawal. Not a tactical retreat, a rout. Sails go up. Oars dig deep, but the wind dies. A dead calm settles over the strait. The Carthaginian ships, built for speed under sail, become floating coffins. The Romans, still rowing with their clumsy, untrained oarsmen, keep moving, slowly, inexorably, closing like a net dragged by men who refuse to let go. The Carthaginians have nowhere to run, and the ravens are still hungry. By late afternoon, the strait is a slaughterhouse. 50 Carthaginian ships captured or sunk, 10,000 prisoners taken. The sea, which hours ago sparkled blue, now reflects nothing but black smoke and red wake. Hannibal Gisco flees in a small skiff, his flagship burned, his reputation ash. He will live to fight another day, but not here. Not against the ravens. On the Roman decks, legionaries collapse against blood-slicked rails. Some laugh, some weep. A young marine stares at his hands, still shaking, still gripping a gladius he never thought he'd use on water. They won. They actually won. In a single morning at the Battle of Mylae, Rome transformed itself from a naval, laughingstock into the master of the Mediterranean. The Carthaginian fleet, undefeated for generations, has been broken by farmers and blacksmiths, who couldn't tell a stern from a bow 3 months earlier. The corvus did that. One simple machine, one brutal idea, turn the sea into land. But victory has a shadow. The Romans sail home in triumph. Duilius parades through the streets of Rome, the first commander to be honored with a column adorned with captured Carthaginian bronze. The Senate celebrates. More ships are ordered. More ravens. The weapon that won Mylae becomes standard on every Roman quinquereme. And that's when the sea reveals its cruelty. Storms. The Mediterranean in winter is no place for top-heavy vessels. The Corvus, mounted high on the bow, shifts the center of gravity. In calm water, it's manageable. In a gale, it turns a warship into a seesaw. Off the coast of Sicily in 255 BC, a Roman fleet returning from Africa sails into a sudden squall. The wind doesn't just blow, it climbs, shrieking, whipping waves taller than masts. One ship after another heels too far, too fast. The Raven's weight pulls the bow down. Water floods the deck. The ship rolls. Men are thrown like dice. By morning, more than 200 vessels lie at the bottom. Over 90,000 sailors and soldiers dead. The worst maritime disaster in ancient history. Historians still argue about the numbers. But the silence in Rome tells the truth. Houses of mourning line every street. The Corvus, the miracle weapon, has become a mass grave. The Romans face a terrible question. Do they keep the Raven and risk more storms? Or do they abandon the weapon that gave them the sea? The record is unclear. Some sources suggest the Corvus was quietly phased out after a second. Storm shattered another fleet in 253 BC. Others say Rome simply learned to fight, like a real navy, using speed, ramming, and maneuver, finally matching Carthage on its own terms. What is certain is this. By the end of the First Punic War, the Ravens are gone. A mystery buried beneath 2 decades of salt and wood. But history does not forget what the Raven made possible. Rome won that war, took Sicily, never looked back. The Corvus was a double-edged sword, victory in battle, catastrophe in calm. Yet without it, there would be no Roman Empire, no Mediterranean. That would one day be called Mare Nostrum, our sea. The Raven flew for only a few years. But in that brief, brutal window, it rewrote the fate of the ancient world. And then, like so many weapons born of desperation, it vanished. The sea took it back.